I'm going to solve the 2011 AP Environmental Science Free Response question number 2. So the number 2 question on an exam is math every year, but it is not entirely math. So this paper that you should have in front of you only has the math portion of FRQ number 2, and it happens to start with C. For this math problem, you do not need the graph, you just need the givens in this table. So let's start with CI. Calculate the current annual global increase in volume in meters cubed of calcium carbonate in coral reefs. Show all steps in your calculation. So we want to find out the growth rate. So it says that our area of corals is 2.5 times 10 to the 11th meters squared. And we want to show in meters cubed what the growth will be. So it's going to grow vertically. So this is our area in meters squared, and we want to find the volume. And so we need to multiply by something else with meters to get meters cubed. And so our answer will come out as meters cubed. So one of the things that you can do if you can't figure out how to solve a problem is you can look for what it wants. It says meters cubed is the answer. So I've got to multiply two things together to get meters cubed, or two items, a meter square and a meter, to get meters cubed. So where in these givens do you have just regular meters? So here we have meters, here we have millimeters, and meters cubed. So I just need meters. So I'm going to pick this one, but first I need to change millimeters into meters. And so one thing that you can do, you have to remember your metric system, is you can take the decimal and move it back 1, 2, 3 to get 0.03 meters. Another thing that you can do is I asked you guys to remember and to memorize that millimeters is 10 to the negative 3. So 3 millimeters is equivalent to 3 times 10 to the negative 3 and meters. So this is equivalent to this. So go back and memorize your metric table if you're having trouble remembering those conversions. So now when I go ahead and do my math, I get 2.5 times 3, and I can pretty much do that in my head as 7.5, so I triple 2.5. And then I have to add the 11 plus a negative 3, which gives me an 8. And my answer comes out as meters cubed. And this happens to be per year because it asks for annual, which is per year. And so our answer is this. So you can see that once you get to the math is not hard. It's just figuring out what they want you to do is the hardest part. Going on to CII. Calculate the current annual global increase in mass in kilograms of calcium carbonate in coral reefs. Show all steps in your calculation. So it's asking you that your answer is kilograms. And it says annual. Annual means a year. So kilograms per year. I need to come up with kilograms per year. But none of my givens have kilograms, except it does tell me the density is in kilograms per meter squared. So the AP test expects you to know density, and density is equal to mass over volume. That is something you have to know just from taking previous science classes from many years. So we want to find mass. We have the density, we have the volume, and the volume was from the last problem. So we're going to use our answer to the last problem, but let's say you got your answer wrong to the last problem. If you use that wrong answer in this question correctly, you would get points for this question. So you wouldn't get points to the last one if you got it wrong, but if you use it correctly in CII, then you get points for CII. Okay, so we need to isolate volumes. So to do that, I can multiply both of the, we need to isolate mass because our answer needs to be in kilograms, which is mass. So I can multiply both sides by volume, and then these cancel, and so I get volume times density is equal to mass. All right, so the last problem we had gave us our volume as 7.5 times 10 to the 8th meters cubed per year. And from the boxes, the table of givens, it gives our density for the reef as 2 times 10 to the 3 kilograms per 1 meter cubed. So now our meters cubed canceled, and we're going to end up with kilograms per year, which is great. That's what we want. So when we go ahead and solve this math, 7.5 times 2 is equal to 15. And you can probably do that in your head. And we're going to add 10 plus 3 gives us 10 to the 11th, and it comes out as kilograms per year. If you leave the problem like this, it's fine because this is a correct answer, but you should know how to do it in proper scientific notation. So in proper scientific notation, you have one digit, then the decimal, and then all of the rest. And since I moved it one digit over, it ends up being as 1.5 times 10 to the 12th. So once again, let's say up here, you plugged in a wrong answer. Like let's say you calculated it and you just put that you decided it was 9.5 times 10 to the 8th. If you did that and you answered this correctly as 19 times per year, you would get the point for CII. And so we call this double jeopardy. So in Apes math, there is no double jeopardy. So you don't get a problem wrong the second time for getting it wrong the first time. C3. Because of ocean acidification, it is expected that in 2050, the mass of calcium carbonate deposited annually in coral reefs will be 20% less than is deposited currently. Calculate how much less calcium carbonate in kilograms is expected to be deposited in 2050 than would be deposited if ocean water pH were to remain at its current value. So once again, we are going to take the answer to the previous problem, 1.5 times 10 to the 12th kilograms per year. Once again, no double jeopardy, so if you got the answer wrong in CII, if you use the wrong answer correctly in CII, then you would still get the points for C3. All right, so it says 20% less, so it's asking us to calculate how much less. So 20% is 0.2, so I'm going to multiply this by 0.2. So my answer comes out as 0.3 times 10 to the 12th. This is how much less. And to put it in proper scientific notation, I'm going to move the decimal here. And so this is the answer in proper scientific notation. This is not a hard problem. This is a really easy problem. And let's say you can't figure out CI, CII, but you're like, oh, I think I can multiply something by 20%. Well, just make up an answer to CII and then use that wrong answer in CII times 0.2, and you would still get points. So that's a strategy for math that you can employ.